What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. A man has control over the quality of women that he deals with. A man has control over it. Look, now I've said numerous times women choose, but that's making an initial choice. A man's choice is who he's going to choose back. So if some ratchet ass woman or some dirty woman or some scandalous woman or some 304 chooses you, you choose to mess with her back. Because one of the things that I have trouble with, because I don't get it from a personal perspective, but I can understand it. Guys will complain about the women out here and say they ratchet, they 304s, they all of that. Leave them alone. Even if they choose you, even if they show some interest in you, leave them alone. You have control over where your dick goes. It's just that simple. You have control over it. You have the discipline. If you see that woman is trifling, why are you messing with her? As the old saying is, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. But you get some guys, they'll mess with a hoe, knowing she done cheated on somebody, knowing she done did some rotten stuff, but think there's something so magical about their dicks that she just gonna change up. They think they're gonna change up. They're gonna bring her to Jesus or whatever. And I've seen this happen a lot of times. Just like we tell women, look, leave those dudes alone. Leave those trifling dudes alone. You gotta tell men. See, men aren't told that as much. See, understand something. Say a woman shows some interest in you. You don't have to deal with her. She ain't holding a gun to your head. Even if she were willing to back that thing up. But let's be real with it. A lot of guys will still deal with that type of woman. For one simple reason. One very, very simple reason. They don't have any choice. They feel like, well, this is all they can get. Like, I remember this woman. It was a woman telling me, too. Now, she had a staircase of daughters by this guy. But she said, you know what? I felt like, she said it. She felt like she was the first woman this guy got with. And he stuck with her. And my thing was, why'd you stick with her? I mean, I can understand one daughter. But the way things are nowadays, you don't have to stick with somebody just because of a child, just being a child's life. There's plenty of people doing that. That's why that term co-parent is so popular now. You can still stick in a child's life. But that dude stuck, I mean, if he had one child with this particular woman, I can understand that. Things happen. But 3? And heck, I might see that woman around somewhere. She got about 5 chick kids with her. But he decided he's going to deal with her. And you get some guys out here, they'll deal with that trifling ass woman. That woman they feel like don't look like all of that. That woman who isn't what is really good for them. Because, well, that's the only woman that showed them some love. Nah. As a man, it is better if you just go in total monk mode or not deal with that woman if she's going to be trifling. And I know some guys will say, well, all these women are 304s, all these women are modern women, all these women. No. You haven't met every single woman, first of all. Let's get that out the way. You haven't met every single woman. Tell me you met all 4 billion women in this world. And something I've always said, if you're a man, you run into 20 trifling ass, ratchet ass, ugly, out of shape women, built like water buffaloes with the disposition of wild gorillas, all of that stuff. But you run into 20 of these women, the only thing they had in common with you Because one of the things I've always talked about, I have talked about constantly, indeed, is why this channel really doesn't go in on women. Because a man has control over that. Now, if a man wants some classy ass women, some classy women, some good wifey types, a woman he can take home with him, a woman that's going to be in cooperation with his operation, a woman who's going to be a good mother, that's on him. And that's on him to become the type of man that's going to get those women. It's just that simple. If a man's constantly getting trifling women who ain't about anything, he got to look at himself. Oh, the popo usually be hiding up here. I don't see him. So, this is the first spot. There's a couple other spots. But anyway, a man got to look at himself because, look, reason why even on this channel I focus on the men, because men got to stop following along. You don't have to mess. Hey, if that woman is, like say you keep running the 304s, and for those who every now and then you get somebody don't know it, hoes on some hoe shit. Why you messing with her? Why you messing with her? One of the things out here is there's a whole bunch of women. There's different types of women, different classes of women, different types. Yeah, you got some bad bitches, but then you also got some nerdy women. You got some real religious women. You got different types. What type do you want? What type is good for you? You don't have this. They ain't holding a gun, even if they choosing. Be the type of man that the type of women you want is going to choose. It's just that simple. You got the power there. In fact, even when I'm talking about a woman choosing, you got the power because you have the power of choosing her back. If a woman is coming after you, you don't have to deal with her, or you can deal with her on your terms. When I talk about the men who are select, the men who are top of the food chain, one of the things with them is they deal with women on their terms. And when they finish dealing with them on their terms, they get rid of her like she's the maid. They dismiss her. See, you got to have that mindset. See, ultimately, it gives you control. But see, that's why I say that's how you have to understand being chosen. Okay, she chose you, but you choose her back. Is she worthy of your time and attention? And you got to understand that. If you keep running into some bad women, you got to say, hold up, what environment am I in? Now, if I'm going to some low-level clubs where you have a bunch of ratchet women, who went there? Those women didn't force it. I remember I told several times the story. I went to a pool party and then a hotel party the next day. At this pool party, it was at this rec center, had a bunch of ratchet women. Even the slim women, I mean, there's nothing but single mothers, ratchet ass women there. I ain't try to holler at none of them. But then the next day, I was at a party that had a bunch of upper class women. Upper class black Barbies. I mean, they were in shape. They were all doing something in school. Now, which choice did I have? Now, if I was stupid, I would have tried to mess with some of those ratchet women, and someone would give me that look. But if I mess with them, who was that on? Them or me? See, man has to realize he has the power. He has the choice. He deals with who he's going to deal with on his terms. Now, if he's constantly running into bad women, then he got to look at himself. He got to say, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? Where am I going? What environment am I in? Where am I hanging out at? What type of places are you going? Because if you want to mess with, say you want to mess with upper class women, well, logic says go to where it is, and there's Popo. Hey, y'all, just real quick. Like I said before, Popo around here, we don't have a lot of crime. Popo around here, they gotta catch somebody for like speeding or something, so they have something to do. Once in a blue moon there's an accident or something, they can do that. It'd be about 15 of them just for an accident. I saw that the other day. I was like, they needed something to do. People don't realize police really, they spend most of their time just chilling. Yeah, let me get in here, get over here. That's that quick light. Anyway, a man has to think, okay, he's trying to do something. What type of woman does he want? And if those women aren't in whatever region he's in, whatever area he's in, well, he probably has to move. Or who he deal with. For example, say he meet a woman, she fine. She got the nice breastises or big butt, whatever you like. Whatever a dude like. But then she shows that she might not be for him. And he usually show it right away. They show it right away. Heck, I did a video today about reading a woman's body language. If you learn how to read a woman well, you can see that right away, that you didn't really need to deal with her at all. And if you really paying attention to women, you see there's some difference. There's a big difference between a ratchet woman, a nerdy woman, a bad bitch. You can just look at them. Especially if you get out the house and just look at them. And you get some guys, I've met some guys, they'll mess with like one of those, let's just say bad bitch. Yeah, she cute, she fine. Got a ton of makeup on, but we won't go there. And they'll get stuck up into her. But then when she treating them doing all this crazy stuff, he don't know what to do. She might be one of those women going to run up his money. He got to pay for all of this stuff. And I've seen plenty of men caught up with some women. It wasn't them. Whose fault was that? The woman for being who she is, or the man for allowing himself to be caught up in there? All she had was a fat ass. PHAT. That's all she had. Why is the guy tripping over that? He had the choice. See, if a man wants a quality woman, he has to first know what he considers quality and then only deal with that type of woman. And he has to have the mindset that there's an abundance. Like I said, I remember I was working on a retail job, and there was probably a dozen different types of women on there. Not women, period, just different types. Different social classes, subcultures, whatever. And there was only maybe, out of those types, maybe 2 or 3 types I could really deal with. The rest I was cool with, but I ain't trying to do anything. And you got to realize that. And as a man, you got to know it. You got to, no matter what women are choosing, you choose whether you want to deal with them back. You let them in. Now, if you get some dumbass woman, or some woman on some crazy stuff just because she fine, well, that's on you. That's your own, I'm going to say, stupidity. Because you got to be smart out here. See, a man, when he's on his mission, his program, and you got a lot of these women, they want a man who wants to be a leader. And I always talk about a man being sovereign. You're expected to be in charge. And then even when you get some of these men who publicly say they want a traditional woman, let's get into that for a second. There's women out here who will do just that. But see, you get some of these men, they want the bad bitch to do that. That's not in her blood. That's not her. She ain't built for that. Like, you meet some woman, don't think you're going to change her into what you want. She needs to be what you want to begin with. If you want a woman who's going to be sitting home cooking and doing all this stuff, being a good mother, find that woman already. For a long time, I haven't talked about the house of the woman. You get some women, they more naturally nurturing anyway. They want to be mommies. They want to be good wifeys and stuff. Only thing is, they not going to be like some other women who look more like that bad bitch. Who looking super fine, wearing that sexy clothing. They might not be that. Now, if that's not what you want, unless you just happen to want that, then you can get that. Or you get some women, they more on the intellectual thing. They more hitting the books. Or you might want that woman, you might be a businessman. You might want that woman who is naturally supporting business. She in business herself. You got to think about that. What do you want? And that's why I always say you got to get past how they look. I've said that constantly. Did constant videos on that. You got to get past that. You got to think about who fits into who you are. Who's right for you. Don't try to get somebody just because they fine and then change them into what you want. That's some bullshit. That ain't going to happen. All you're going to do is get a headache. And even if you got to be by yourself for a while, during that time, you need to focus on building yourself, because what I always say, your main relationship is with yourself. You need to build yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You need to do what you can to build yourself to attract the type of woman you want. You need to be hitting body game. You need to be improving yourself. So even when you by yourself, you chill. In fact, that's the best way to get someone. They already see you already who you want to be. And then, I'm going to tell you what with that. Unless that woman on some player shit, and you got some women players out there, unless that woman on some player shit, she see that you ain't what she want. You ain't trying to party. You could be up in the church. You could be more intellectual, want to be up in bookstores all the time. They ain't going to mess with you. Because when women looking at a man, they looking at somebody who is a reflection of them anyway, of what they want. So she could be some earthy hippie girl, and I'm going to be talking about that. But you looking like some corporate dude. The women that you want to deal with, they corporate too. You can take them to the corporate get together. You don't have to try to change her up. Like any man, and unfortunately, that's not talked about enough. You get some men that want to change a woman up. Just because she gave him some pussy. Or just because she got a fat ass. Or she pretty or something. Please. If she ain't fitting into your program, if she ain't a commercial to your main program, if she ain't in cooperation to your operation, or even had the ability to be in submission to your mission, you just leave her alone. It's like, damn, you had a fat ass too. Well, you have a nice day. You might know somebody she can hook up with. Because you got 4 billion women in this world. You can get about at least 12 who fit into who you are. But the key is starting with yourself. Starting building yourself into your best version and then seeing who fits into it. And definitely build yourself into a version that you don't have to change up. Like you get some dudes, they be trying to be all up in these women's DMs and stuff, knowing that's not them. She got fat ass though. Please, that's not them. You don't even want to deal with that type. Yeah. Let me go over here. I don't like parking next to people. Go right here. So, I want you to think about that. If you want a quality woman, that's your choice to be it. Start off with the quality. Don't think you're going to change her. Don't think you're going to be get something you don't like. Don't get mad if a woman is a certain way. A woman going to be who she going to be. You just sit back and let her be there. But if she ain't for you, she just ain't for you. Like I said, just like you get some dudes, see some ratchet women think they gonna do some change. It was like, man, she got a fat ass, but that ain't me. I'ma chill. I'ma chill. So I want y'all to think about everything I just said, all right? And you don't have to be like, oh, that ain't me. Don't do that. Let me say something about that. If something don't apply to you in particular, if something don't apply to you, let it fly. All right? You're not impressing me by saying it don't apply to you or something. I don't know who you are. All right? Because to me, you're just looking for attention. But if it do apply to you, really think about it. There's a bunch of women out here. You don't have to deal with a woman you don't want to deal with. No matter what anybody say. Anybody, including myself, no matter what we say, deal with the woman who is in cooperation with your operation that fits you. All right? That fits you. So, anyway. Yeah. Saw some big legs. Anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace.